Hello YouTube, my name's Nika Knox and welcome to my channel, Substitute Ed. Oh, you can hear my cat, sorry. They're just waking up from a nap. I wanted to do this video today to talk a little bit about substituting, why I substitute, how I got into substitute teaching, and maybe help those who are interested or thinking about substitute teaching. So I wrote down a handy little list so I didn't forget anything. So don't mind me if I look down at my list here. But substitute teaching is something I've been doing for 5 years. And I had never taught before I started doing this. I used to work in the spa industry before that. And when I got laid off during the pandemic, I was at home with the kids, didn't know what the next step was going to be, and my lovely mother told me that she had heard about, they were looking for substitute teachers, and here's all the criteria for applying and getting a permit, and I was like, well, that sounds interesting. I never saw myself as an educator or wanting to be a teacher. I've wanted to do a lot of things in my life, but that wasn't one of them. But I thought it's a time for a change. I was ready to be done with spa. I had done spa for a long time, both where I lived before in California, as well as here in the Midwest. So I was over it. I was ready to be done. So I went through the whole process, the training, the background checks. And if you're interested in talking about that process, I can do a separate video on what that is. Obviously, that process is different depending on your state, but I can tell you a little bit about my experience. So why did I do it beyond my mother saying, maybe you should try it? I do trust my mother a lot. I saw with my kids what a struggle the pandemic was for teachers and for schools, trying to figure out how to engage students. My son at the time was completely virtual, and it was very difficult. And I thought, well, why don't I be a part of a solution? I would love to assist. I would love to help. I would love to support these amazing educators who are really struggling to figure out how to do this and how to reach students and how to keep their students safe and okay, and kids who are emotionally overwhelmed by all the circumstances. So I started teaching tail end of the pandemic, and that was my main reason for getting into it. Why I stay with it is because of the relationships. I love connecting with students and teachers and educators, but I love the students. I love building relationships. I love helping them on their worst days as well as their best days. And working with the students that I do, there can be a lot of bad days, a lot of stress, a lot of trauma, a lot of overwhelming situations, and I want to be there for them. I am a big proponent of SEL, if you know what that is. I believe that only through being regulated and being able to manage our big feelings are we able to really thrive in an educational setting. And so I love being that person who can support them with some of those things, not just academically, but emotionally, and being that person they can trust to talk about why they're angry or what's going on in their life, or checking in, or it's also never a dull moment. If you like a situation where it's kind of different every day, teaching is definitely that. You get routines, which are helpful, but as a sub, if you choose to do day-to-day subbing, you could be in a different class in a different subject every single day if that's what you want. Or you can do long-term subbing, which is what I do for the most part, which is I fill a vacancy, or I cover somebody's maternity leave, or, whatever kind of leaves that happen. I may be with the same class for half the year or 3 weeks, and you do a lot of the same things that a teacher does, writing lesson plans and connecting with parents, or you can do dailies, which is a little less pressure, but not, and I'll get into that later. So one of the other reasons that I love working as a substitute teacher and in schools and in education in general is that school was always a very positive place for me. School was always a place that I could trust to be kind of the same or similar. I knew what to expect. It was safe. It was calm. I felt confident in myself. I had my friends. It was a safe haven growing up, and I want that to be the same for kids now. I want them to know what to expect when they come to school. I want them to know somebody cares about them, and that if they can't count on anything else, they can count on people being there for them at school. So my last reason, that's both why I joined it and why I stay, is that it offers a lot of flexibility. Having 2 kids, my kids are not quite old enough yet to be completely independent, getting to and from places. So, someone's got to be able to pick them up from school, or be home when they get home from school, or get them to school. Summers are difficult when you have multiple people in the household working, and who's going to watch the kids, and you have to work alternate times, which is still true. But it meant that for the most part, when the kids are off, I am off. So other than having meetings, and sometimes I have to stay late at school, so sometimes one of my kids at least, has to stay with me because they're a little bit younger. But it offers a lot of flexibility. If you do daily subbing, you have all the flexibility in the world to say, I'm going to work on these days, I'm going to pick up these jobs, I'm going to do these grade levels or these subjects, so lots and lots of flexibility. So those are kind of my 5 reasons why I sub and have for 5 years. So I plan on doing another video kind of talking about the process of subbing. And again, that is going to be different depending on the state that you're in. But there are probably some similarities, and I would love to hear from you guys, kind of what states that you are looking at. Some states require like a teaching degree and you are hired by the district, and other states don't require that you have a teaching degree, but require a certain amount of college education, or are through an independent outside company, so like a contractor. So it can vary. But I would love to hear from you. If you sub, why? Why did you choose to go into substitute teaching? Why do you stay with substitute teaching? I would love to hear from you. So thank you so much for checking out my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.